Hello and good afternoon to this meeting of the Georges River Local Planning Panel for Thursday the 5th of September 2024. My name is Stuart McDonald and I'm the chair of today's meeting. The panel is currently streaming live from the Georges River Council offices in McMahon Street, Hurstville. The panel members who make up the panel today are on my immediate left is Georgia Kisser, who's the community representative on the panel. My immediate right is Stephen Alchin, who's an expert panel member. And on my far right is Larissa Ozog, who's also an expert panel member. We're the panel that have been appointed by the Minister for Planning to determine specified development applications, including those that are on the agenda today, in accordance with the requirements of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. I will be going through quite a bit of prelim, so I'm afraid you'll have to listen to my voice for a little while I run through the protocols for today's meeting. The Georges River Local Planning Panel acknowledges the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters and sky in the Georges River area. We pay our respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who live, work and meet on these lands. I'm required to advise you that under the provisions of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act, this meeting of the panel is being live streamed and will be made available on the Council's website. In accordance with the revised meeting protocols, interested parties wishing to make representations to the panel were requested to register a summary of their interests. A total of 1 registration was received, and that is Mark Assad, who is in attendance here today. We'll invite Mark to address the panel presently. Disclosures of interest. As required under the Local Planning Panel's Code of Conduct, panel members are required to disclose any conflicts of interest in respect of any matter on the agenda today for today's meeting. The relevant forms as prescribed by the Department of Planning have been completed and are tabled for Council to be included in the online minutes of this meeting. I can confirm that all panel members have declared in writing that they have no conflicts of interest. Consideration of verbal submissions. The panel has received, as I said, 1 expression of interest to address the panel. I'll just let you know, Mr. Assad, that in preparing for the meeting, we've all panel members have been provided with a copy of the assessment report. In fact, for all 3 applications on the agenda today. And we've also undertaken inspections of the sites and the nearby locality today as well, been on our bus trip. Notwithstanding that there is that you are number 3 on the agenda, I think because you're the only speaker, we'll bring you forward. If that's not going to upset things too much, no. So I'll call you forward in just a moment. As we progress through the matters on the agenda, I probably don't need to tell you the rest of that because you're the only person. You have 3 minutes. And that will be timed. And obviously you're aware that you are also being live streamed as part of this process as well. When you come to the table, just make sure you turn your mic on. Just in terms of the process for today, once we've heard from you, the panel will then be retiring. And we consider your matter, the application you're interested in, plus the other 2, we consider that in camera. So we won't be making any public deliberations today. the determinations will be made in that closed sessions, but then will be made available on the council's website, usually within 2 to 3 days of the meeting being held. So, Mr. Assad, please come forward and take a seat. Just while you're doing that, I can let you know that the material that you sent to the council in the last couple of days, we also have a copy of that, and the council officers, at my request, just have given us a verbal brief in response to those matters that you've raised as well. And as I said, we've read the assessment report. We've also been provided with the full documentation of the application, the drawings and all the other material that was submitted. So we're reasonably well briefed, but of course we're interested to hear from you as well. So I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much. I guess the main gist of today's exercise is to encourage the panel to not proceed with a determination of refusal, but for a deferred matter, or for a deferred LPP matter, or a deferred commencement option, if that is possible, merely because we would like the material we've provided, to propose to remove the studios within the rear of the lot and just provide a double garage towards the rear laneway, and that would instrumentally resolve the contentions of landscaping, stormwater, bulk and scale, etc. So I understand there's a few items. I think the main ticket item is the minimum lot size, and I understand from council's assessment they've stated that the proposal in its current form would be more of an impact from 3 lots to 2, which of course from our standpoint it's quite difficult to comprehend. So in its current form, yes, these adjustments can be made. They are minor in nature and we wouldn't want to proceed with a refusal, but to amend that accordingly via deferred matter, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Good. No, I think we understand that. That was clear in your correspondence, I think. Panel members, any questions for Mr. Assad at all? Yes?
Sorry, I've just got a question about how do you propose to resolve the accessibility from the rear? Because that's one seems quite a fundamental issue of the access leaving your site whilst, so the swept paths diagrams were done while there's no car parking on the laneway from the plans. When we were out on site today, you can park there. So, and they were fully parked at the back. It seems extremely tight and really, really hard. I don't know if you can actually physically leave the site with the arrangement of you having, 3 parking spaces or even 2, to resolve that. Like, it's really, really difficult, and I think even literally impossible. Did you, or have you looked at removing those car parking spaces, which might need the local traffic committee consent, or have you pursued that avenue to give some greater clarity in terms of your manoeuvrability and arrangement at the back there?
Yeah, thank you. We haven't yet, but even from, I guess, my experience and my time here at council, I'm just trying to think back to my childcare where we had the exact same issue. I believe we went to the LPP, we deferred it subject to the traffic committee, and then the traffic committee endorsed if we were to propose to take it off, then that may resolve that contention. But I guess the first exercise first is during that deferred, if we do head down the path of a deferred matter, we can address with the new scheme with the adjustment to a double garage. That will have us, the architect provided me with notes that setback will increase. A double garage at 5.5 metres wide will allow for a 1,600 metre setback to the lane for swept paths to clear if cars are parked. So that's one of the notes from the draftsman. That came through to me this morning, so that hasn't been provided to the panel. If I could, there were other minor notes to add, which included in relation to the OSD and so on. But the main ticket item would be if we did provide that 5.5 metre wide double garage, we would then have a 1,600 metre setback. So that would obviously with amended material for sweat parts and amended traffic impact analysis, we could provide those additional sightlines that you would need. And if we need to go to the traffic committee, like if the concept comes back and it's a no-fly zone, then we can explore the option of deferred commencement subject to the traffic committee to resolve that contention. Because I think at the moment it's not a no stopping. No, that's on the street. I think on the main frontage.
Thanks, Mr. Assad. Any other questions, colleagues? No. And as I said, I don't have any either. So thanks very much. We'll take on board your presentation plus the material you've forwarded to the council. Thank you. All right, reverting now to the other two items on the agenda today. Item 1 is DA 2023/0336 at 188 Princes Highway, Beverley Park. Conservation works to a heritage listed dwelling house known as McWilliam House. There are no speakers for this item, so the panel will consider this in closed session. Item 2 on the agenda today, as published, was DA 2024/0111 for 37 Clark Street, Peakhurst, alterations and additions to a dwelling house. Again, there are no speakers for this matter today, so the panel will consider this in closed session following the public meeting. As there are no more speakers, and we've already dealt with item 3, which was 3 Warrawee Place, Beverley Hills, the re-subdivision of 3 lots into 2 lots, and the demolition works and construction of a 2-storey semi-detached dwellings with detached garages and studios, including carports. That was the matter for which Mr. Assad addressed the panel. I failed to actually mention what that DA was, so just to be clear about that. As there are no further speakers, I'll call the meeting to a close. Thank you.